Okay, let me tell you about my neighbor, Karen Stevens. Absolute nightmare. It all started on a crisp Monday morning. I'm Bruce Stone, just trying to enjoy my coffee, the usual quiet suburban start to the day. Birds chirping, sprinklers whirring. You know the drill. Got my routine. So, I grab my keys, head out for work, expect to see my clear driveway. Instead, this massive black SUV, tinted windows, parked right smack in the middle of it, blocking my garage completely. Trapped my car. My first thought? Confused. Contractor? Delivery mistake? Our neighborhood's pretty friendly, mostly know each other. Didn't recognize the SUV. Mistakes happen, right? Didn't want to overreact. Went back inside, scribbled a polite note. Hello, private driveway. Please don't park here. Thanks. Tucked it under the windshield wiper. Figured the owner would get the hint. Had to call my boss, work from home. Irritating start to the week. The SUV sat there all day. I kept glancing out, hoping to see who it belonged to. Early evening, finally gone. Phew, probably a one-off, I thought. Forgot about it. Nope. Next morning, same damn SUV. Same spot. Blocking my garage again, almost tauntingly close this time. Okay, irritation level rising. Still trying to be calm. Another note, firmer this time. Parking here without permission is trespassing. Please do not park here again. Decided to wait this time. Worked from home again, kept an eye out. Nothing all day. Then, late evening, sun setting, I see a woman walking casually towards the SUV. Late 40s, maybe early 50s, blonde hair, sunglasses even though it was almost dark. Carried herself with this arrogance. I stepped outside. Excuse me, I called out, keeping it polite but firm. Is this your SUV? She paused, turned, peered at me over her sunglasses. Yes, it is, she replied, like it was the most normal thing in the world to park in someone else's driveway. This is my driveway, I said, gesturing to my house. You're blocking my garage. Could you please not park here? She just shrugged. Didn't seem bothered at all. I live down the street, she said. My driveway's full. Needed a place to park. I was floored by her nonchalance. I understand, but this is private property. You can't just park here without asking. She waved her hand dismissively. It's just a driveway. You're not even using it right now. What's the big deal? Okay, composure slipping. The big deal is, it's my property. I need access to my garage. There are plenty of spots on the street. She scoffed. Street parking is too far. This is more convenient. Unbelievable. No apology, no concern. Just entitlement. Look, I said, voice getting firmer. I'm asking you nicely. Please, don't park here again. She sighed dramatically, like I was inconveniencing her. Fine, she said, hopped in her SUV, backed out, and drove off. I stood there, stunned. Expected some acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Got nothing but attitude. Went back inside, really hoping that was the end of it. But this woman, Karen Stevens, found out her name from a neighbor later. She wasn't the type to let things go. The SUV kept reappearing. Like clockwork. Every time, I left notes. Tried to catch her. Waited for her to move. Every time, same dismissive attitude. By the end of the week, my patience was gone. This wasn't just inconvenient, it felt like harassment. I started documenting everything. Photos of the SUV in my driveway, timestamps, logs of when it appeared. Talked to a few neighbors. Turns out, Karen had a reputation. Difficult, they said. Serial boundary pusher. Believed the rules didn't apply to her. Figures. Armed with this info, I called the local police non-emergency line. Explained the situation, provided the photo evidence. Officer confirmed. Yep, I had the right to tow her vehicle for trespassing, as long as I followed procedure. Okay, game on. Decided to give Karen one last, official warning. Saw her walking to her SUV that evening. Stepped outside. Karen, I said, keeping my voice steady. This has to stop. I've tried being reasonable. You're leaving me no choice. If you park here again, I will have your car towed. She turned that arrogant smirk back on her face. You wouldn't dare, she said. It's just a driveway. What's the harm? I held my ground. Try me. You've been warned. She got in her SUV, drove off. I stood there, wondering if she'd finally gotten the message. Little did she know, I was dead serious. The stage was set. Woke up the next morning, actually feeling hopeful. Maybe, just maybe, the towing thread had worked. Prepared coffee, glanced out the window, and my heart sank. The black SUV, parked right there. middle of my driveway, blocking my garage. Again. At this point, it wasn't just frustration. It was pure fury. Disrespected, boundaries ignored, by someone who clearly got a kick out of pushing my buttons. Took a deep breath. Document first. Snapped photos from multiple angles, timestamps on. Undeniable proof. Thought about confronting her again. Nah. Tried reasoning. Tried warnings. Clearly pointless. She didn't care. Time for action. Called the police non-emergency line again, just to double-check the towing procedure. Officer confirmed. Document. Notify towing company it's private property. One final written warning advised, but not strictly required given my previous attempts. Okay. That evening, typed up a formal notice. Plain white paper, clear font. Notice of trespass. Private property. Your vehicle repeatedly parked here without permission, blocking access. This is your final warning. Park here again. Vehicle will be towed at your expense. No further warnings. Put it in a clear plastic sleeve, taped it securely to her windshield. Made sure it was impossible to miss. Went to bed hoping, praying, this would be it. Next day, woke up early, anxious. Pulled back the curtains. Empty driveway. Yes. Felt this huge wave of relief. Poured my coffee, actually smiled. Maybe she finally got it. Maybe she realized I wasn't bluffing. Peace lasted until late afternoon. Came home from running errands, and there it was. The black SUV. Back in my driveway. Like nothing happened. The plastic sleeve notice I'd taped to her windshield? Crumpled on the ground nearby. She hadn't just ignored the warning. She'd literally thrown it away. That was it. No more warnings, no more politeness. Grabbed my phone, called the towing company the police recommended. Gave them the address, description, plate number. Dispatcher said a truck would be there within the hour. Felt a knot in my stomach. Knew this would escalate things. But what choice did I have? Tow truck arrived. Big guy, friendly demeanor. Explained the situation. He nodded knowingly. See this all the time, he said, hooking up the SUV. Some folks just don't respect property lines. As the truck started pulling the SUV away, I felt this surge of vindication. Finally taking back control. Snapped a few photos of the towing process, just for my records. Right on cue, just as the tow truck disappeared down the street, I heard it. What the hell do you think you're doing? Turned around. Karen, storming towards me, face purple with rage. Clearly just got home. Saw her car missing. You had no right to tow my car. She shrieked. That's theft. I'm calling the police. I stood my ground, kept my voice even. I warned you, Karen. Multiple times. Notes, verbal warning, formal written notice. You chose to ignore all of it. Your car was trespassing on my private property. I had every legal right to have it towed. Her face contorted. This isn't over, she spat. You're going to regret this. I just shrugged. Do whatever you feel is necessary. But just so you know, everything I did was legal, documented, and supported by the police. Escalate if you want. Be my guest. I have proof. She glared daggers at me, then spun around and stormed back to her house, slamming the door. I watched her go, feeling a mix of relief and apprehension. The immediate problem was solved, but I knew Karen. This wasn't the end. Not by a long shot. But for now, a small victory. I could finally use my own damn driveway. Woke up the morning after the tow, actually feeling peaceful. Driveway empty. Walked outside without seeing that damn black SUV. Breathed easier. Maybe, just maybe, that was the end of it. Deep down though, I knew Karen wasn't the type to just let things go. Sure enough, mid-morning, aggressive knock at the door. Opened it. Karen, arms crossed, seething. Face a mix of fury and weird triumph. You're going to regret what you did, she announced, skipping pleasantries. Just got back from the impound lot. They weren't happy with how you handled this. I raised an eyebrow. I followed every legal procedure, Karen. Police confirmed it. Issues with them, not me. She smirked, like she had an ace up her sleeve. Oh, don't worry, I already have. And you'll be hearing from my lawyer. What you did? Harassment. Plain and simple. Going to make sure everyone knows what kind of person you are. Temper flared, but I kept cool. You repeatedly trespassed. I documented everything. Involve lawyers if you want. But don't try to intimidate me. She narrowed her eyes. You'll see, she hissed, and stormed off. Okay, so she was actually going to try and sue me? Unbelievable. But I couldn't shake the feeling she wasn't done causing trouble closer to home. Over the next few days, petty stuff started happening. Mailbox stuffed with junk mail I never signed up for. Pile of leaves dumped on my freshly swept driveway. Couldn't prove it was her, but the timing? Too perfect. Decided to upgrade my security. Installed a good camera system, discreet but covering the driveway, mailbox, front yard. If she tried anything else, I'd have proof. And bingo. Within 2 days, camera caught her. Late at night, clear as day footage, Karen walking up to my mailbox, shoving flyers inside, then scattering leaves across my driveway before scurrying back home. Saved the video immediately. More evidence for the pile. Word about the towing incident spread. Most neighbors were firmly on my side. People started approaching me, sharing their Karen horror stories. Disputes over property lines, noise complaints, ridiculous fines. Martha Hill, a retired teacher down the street, told me Karen tried bullying her into cutting down a healthy tree because it cast shade on Karen's prize-winning petunias. She thrives on conflict, Martha warned. Be careful. She won't stop until she feels she's won. Appreciated the support, but felt uneasy. Karen's obsession was exhausting, constantly looking over my shoulder. Then, the final straw. Came home from work. Bright orange sign taped to my garage door. Bold letters. Violation, illegal towing of vehicle. Neighborhood council investigation pending. A prank? Nope. Fine print revealed Karen had filed a formal complaint with the Homeowners Association, which, remember, I wasn't even part of, accusing me of improper conduct, violating community guidelines. Claimed my actions were under review, might face penalties. Furious doesn't even cover it. HOA had no jurisdiction over private driveways. Police confirmed I was within my rights. This was baseless harassment, pure and simple. Couldn't ignore it though. Needed to respond formally, clear my name, shut this down. Gathered all my evidence. Photos, videos, including the late-night vandalism, copy of the police report confirming the tow was legal. Drafted a detailed letter to the HOA board. Outlined Karen's repeated trespassing, my attempts to resolve it, the warnings, the legal justification for the tow. Included the security footage of her vandalism. Argued her behavior was disruptive, harmful to the community. Submitted the letter. HOA board members assured me they'd review it, schedule a meeting. The HOA meeting was tense. Community center, 2 weeks later. Packed room. Karen was there, front row, looking smug, surrounded by a few cronies. Meeting started. Karen launched into a tirade. Painted herself as the victim. Accused me of being a bully, a troublemaker. Claimed I towed her SUV out of spite, caused her undue stress, financial hardship. Then it was my turn. Calmly, methodically, presented my evidence. Photos of her SUV blocking my drive, day after day. The notes I left. The formal warning. The police report confirming the tow was legal. Then, the security footage. The late-night mailbox stuffing. The leaf scattering. The hearing room went dead silent as the video played. When I finished, the mood had shifted dramatically. Board members exchanged glances. Neighbors whispered. Finally, the HOA president, Thomas Baker, spoke. After reviewing the evidence, he announced, his voice firm, it's clear Mr. Stone acted within his rights regarding the vehicle parked on his private property. The complaint against him is dismissed. Karen's face turned red. She opened her mouth to protest. Furthermore, Baker continued, cutting her off. We've reviewed the security footage provided by Mr. Stone. Ms. Stevens, your behavior, trespassing, vandalism, violates community standards. A formal warning will be issued. Any further incidents may result in penalties. Karen stormed out, her fringe trailing behind her like defeated minions. Relief washed over me. It was exhausting, but I'd stood my ground, presented the facts, and won. As I left, neighbors came up, congratulating me, thanking me for finally standing up to her. In the following days, Karen kept a low profile. SUVs stayed in her driveway. No more notes, no vandalism. Maybe, just maybe, she'd finally learned her lesson. Or at least decided the fight wasn't worth it anymore. The experience? A brutal reminder to stand up for yourself, even when it's hard. Hopefully, I'd never deal with Karen again. But if I did, I was ready. The HOA meeting felt like a win, a big one. Karen publicly called out, complaint dismissed, warning issued. For the first time in weeks, I actually started to relax. Maybe, finally, it was over. Life started feeling normal again. Driveway clear, no weird notes, neighbors actually smiling at me again. Peace. But Karen Stevens, she wasn't the type to accept defeat. That nagging feeling that she wasn't truly finished? It proved right. One Saturday morning, I opened my front door to grab the mail. Sitting on the porch was an official-looking envelope. Return address, Stevens and Clark Law Firm. My stomach clenched. Karen wasn't just ignoring the HOA warning. She was escalating. Big time. Sat down at the kitchen table, opened it carefully. Formal letter, heavy paper, fancy logo. Karen was suing me. For damages. Accused me of emotional distress, financial harm, and public humiliation because I had her illegally parked SUV towed from my private property. Claimed my actions were unreasonable, part of a campaign to target and harass her. Demanded $10,000. Threatened further legal action if I didn't comply within 14 days. Disbelief first, then pure, boiling rage. Emotional distress? Humiliation? After she repeatedly trespassed, vandalized my property, ignored warnings? The audacity was breathtaking. She was twisting everything, painting herself as the victim, trying to bully me with the legal system now. But I wasn't giving in. Not after everything. I immediately called Emily Rowe, the lawyer who'd advised me before. Emailed her the lawsuit papers. Emily wasn't surprised. Classic Karen, she sighed after reading it. Trying to scare you into settling. It's an intimidation tactic, pure and simple. She has absolutely no grounds for this lawsuit. You acted legally, reasonably, and you have overwhelming evidence to prove it. So, I'm not backing down, I said firmly. I didn't do anything wrong. Good, Emily smiled. Because we have a solid defense. Let's prepare our response. Over the next week, we drafted the formal reply. Laid out the facts again, meticulously. Referenced the photos, the videos, the police report confirming the tow was legal, the HOA's own dismissal of her complaint, the evidence of her trespassing and vandalism. Ended it firmly. We would not be paying any damages, and any further legal action would be vigorously contested. Emily sent the response. We waited. The stress was back, weighing on me. This constant back and forth was draining. I worried about the cost, the time, the sheer emotional energy this fight was taking. 2 weeks later, another letter from the court. Karen had officially filed the lawsuit. Didn't change the dollar amount, but now added defamation to the list. Claimed I'd spread false information about her to neighbors. Court date set for 6 weeks out. In the meantime, Karen started playing the victim in the neighborhood again. Not openly antagonistic, but spreading rumors. Telling people I'd targeted her out of spite, was obsessed with her, manipulated the HOA. Some neighbors approached me, concerned, sharing what they'd heard. It was frustrating, but I decided not to engage in the gossip. The truth would come out in court. As the court date neared, Emily worked like a machine. We weren't just defending, we were countersuing. Filed against Karen for trespassing, harassment, vandalism, and now, malicious prosecution for filing a frivolous lawsuit. We had the security footage, the police reports, the HOA ruling, everything. Emily also reached out to neighbors again, asking for formal statements about Karen's history of boundary pushing and conflict creation. To my relief, many agreed, tired of Karen's antics and willing to support me on the record now. The day of the court hearing arrived. Courthouse again, nerves mixed with determination. Karen was there, flanked by her lawyer, looking smugly confident, surrounded by a small clique of her friends. She shot me a venomous look as I walked past. Inside, Karen's lawyer went first. Painted Karen as this poor, hard-working single woman, unfairly targeted by a vindictive neighbor, me. Claimed the towing caused significant distress, financial hardship, the towing fee, presumably, damaged her reputation. Karen took the stand, dabbed her eyes with a tissue, talked about the humiliation, the fear she felt living next to me. It was quite the performance. Then it was our turn. Emily took control. Calm, precise, confident. She systematically dismantled Karen's claims. Presented the evidence. Photos of the SUV blocking my drive day after day, the notes, the formal warning, the police report validating the tow. Then, the security footage. Karen stuffing my mailbox. Karen scattering leaves. The judge watched intently. Emily called neighbors who testified about Karen's history of aggressive behavior, her disregard for rules, her pattern of creating conflict. Martha Hill, the retired teacher, was particularly compelling. By the time Emily rested our case, the courtroom atmosphere had shifted. Karen's lawyer tried to cross-examine me, tried to paint me as angry and unreasonable, but Emily objected successfully to most of his misleading questions. I stuck to the facts, calmly outlining the timeline of Karen's trespassing and harassment. The judge didn't take long to rule. Karen's lawsuit? Dismissed. Entirely. Judge noted her claims were unsupported by evidence, appeared retaliatory and frivolous. Then, the countersuit. The judge ruled in my favor. Ordered Karen to pay damages for trespassing and harassment. The amount wasn't huge, but it was symbolic. It was accountability. Karen's smugness finally vanished. She looked stunned, pale, as the judge delivered the ruling. Outside the courthouse, relief washed over me. It was finally, truly, over. Neighbors who'd supported me came up, congratulating me. Even Martha gave me a warm smile. "You did the right thing, Bruce," she said. Hopefully, she's learned her lesson. Karen? She practically sprinted out of the courthouse, avoiding everyone. Her reputation in the neighborhood was shot. From then on, she kept to herself. Her SUV was never seen near my driveway again. It was a hard-fought victory. Costly, stressful, emotionally draining. But standing up for my rights, refusing to be bullied? Absolutely worth it. Peace finally returned to my quiet corner of the world.